Welcome everyone. So today's topic is going to be on quantum body balance, which is a revolutionary and unique healing modality created by Doug Koenig. My name is Grace So, and I'm a Reiki master, registered massage therapist, and manual osteopath. So before we dive into this topic, let me introduce you to Doug. Doug has been in the health and wellness industry for over 40 years and has been certified in over 30 modalities, including NLP, access bars, matrix energetics, to name a few. He was one of the core members of a spiritual community in Vancouver over 30 years ago, which provided healings and angelic channelings to the community. So without further ado, let's ask Doug about quantum body balance. So, Doug, tell us how you got into this modality and what prompted you to create this.
Okay, for sure. And thanks for having me on, Grace. Good to see you.
Sure.
And actually, quantum body balance started quite a long time ago. I was in my late 20s, and as Grace mentioned, I was attracted to this spiritual community. It was actually a group from California had followed their angelic guidance to move to Victoria to set up a healing center. And they developed their psychic proclivities, trance mediumship, and they only channeled the angels. And their big thing was praying for divine love to progress yourself spiritually. So it was in that context that I started actually connecting with my spirit guide. At the time was Paul the Apostle. And he started coming through in writings. I wouldn't call them automatic writings. This is more stream of consciousness. Didn't actually take over command of my pen, for example, but just thoughts would come to me in a flowing manner. And I was with that guide for a few months. And then I was sitting out, we were all living in this huge mansion. There's about 8, 10, 12 of us together living in this mansion. And we provided healings to the community based on um, receiving and giving divine love and following the guidance of the angels that came through daily to give us inspiration and information, and basically to support our spiritual evolution. And one day I was sitting out on the back porch of this mansion, and Yeshua, or Jesus, came to me. He was one that channeled frequently. Actually, many of the apostles, I remember Socrates was there as well as so somebody's guide, and he would come through often. But more often than not, it was one of the apostles or Jesus himself who would come through. And he impressed upon me that he would be guiding me going forward. So I was quite excited about that. And this group was actually started by a chiropractor, and he used muscle testing to test out statements to see if they're true or false. So I was quite excited, and I asked to be tested out if this was true or not. And so one of the practitioners muscle tested me, and sure enough, it was a true statement that Yeshua would be my guide going forward. So, not that I needed the muscle testing because it was quite apparent in his communications to me that it was indeed him, and his love is unmistakable. He's a tremendous being of love and wisdom. And he did appear to me once, and I tell you, he was the personification of love. It oozed forth from every pore of his body. And he looked at me like he knew everything about me, which I'm sure he did. And he was just there for a flash because I got in my mind. It was during meditation, and I was shocked by the image. And so he was there and then he was gone. But that image never left my memory and has been with me ever since. Now, I was working at the time as an orderly for the elderly geriatric patients, an intensive unit in a local old folks home. And there was an occurrence that happened, and this is while I was still living at the mansion, that I knew did not have a whole lot to do with me, given the miraculous nature of this event. So I'll just tell you briefly what it was. And the reason why I'm saying all this is to put into context that I was actually shown my work long ago in my 20s, even though I didn't follow it right away, but we'll get to that. So one of my charges, a little old lady, she was quite dilapidated, wheelchair bound, and could speak. Her face was pretty much, when you don't have teeth, your face kind of caves in. A dear old lady, but oh my gosh, her body was very dilapidated. And whenever I would pass her, she would reach her arm out and sort of grunt that she wanted to hold hands with me, basically. And so we'd hold hands and we would beam together. And the remarkable thing I remember was, given the emaciated shape of her body, her eyes were crystal clear blue, like a baby's eyes. They were so full of life and presence that it was really quite a discrepancy with the rest of her body. But anyways, we'd beam together, we'd look into each other's eyes, and this became a daily occurrence. And one day I just felt to look in on her in her room, and she was writhing in pain on her bed, and it looked like she was on her way out. And before I knew it, I just found myself at the foot of her bed with my hands on the soles of her feet. The room flashed into brilliant white light, and all this powerful love came flowing through me, through my hands, and into her. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, there's no way this frail little old lady can handle this powerful energy. Yet when I looked up, I saw that the painful grimace on her face had changed to one of a beatific smile. She was out of pain. She was in bliss, actually. And so I knew it was Yeshua. I knew it was a spontaneous, miraculous healing. And because, in reflecting back, because I was in alignment with that being and with divine love, and I had an impulse to help her when I saw her, that's all that was required. Years later, I went, that was such a powerful experience. And I had another, even more powerful experience I won't go into for lack of time. But it was made very clear to me that, I had worked with Jesus, and who I prefer to call Yeshua. It's how I believe he was called when he lived on this earth. And that this was the nature of our healing work together, that he would channel this beautiful divine love. He's one with the source of all love, being a fully realized being, and he would channel this through me to the recipient. And I was actually blown away by that miraculous healing, and I went into denial. And it was many years before I got the itch to, I mean, I even denied that I was a healer. I was fully distracted in many ways. I know this is a long answer, but the question you ask kind of puts the context to quantum body balance and how, what it really is and how it came to be. So I'm hoping to impart a feeling of this work to your audience in this way.
When someone book a session with you to make an intention, or is that part of you helping them get clear about what it is that they want?
Well, yeah, the reason why they come to me is that they have a desire, they have an intention. So we clarify that to make it more powerful so that they can connect with it more directly. And it's a co-creative process. That's why it's so important for the person to be clear on what they want, to be open, and if there are any conflicting thoughts, to address them before the session. So we're not putting up roadblocks to this beautiful energy
Mm-hmm.
that will do miraculous things if allowed to.
Right. No, that's great. Much, Doug. I hope you guys try it. And if you want to engage in this powerful process, feel free to contact Doug. I will put up the card again so you guys can get in touch with him. Take care, everyone.